So, hello everyone, and welcome back to STW Sports. I'm host Samuel Wright, joined by Keiran Graham, and we're going over the Premier League midweek review. Of course, as you're all aware, there have been a few games called off due to the pandemic. We'll try and just focus on the games that did go ahead. Starting on Tuesday, and unfortunately, Keiran, we are going to start with the game at the Etihad Stadium. Man City 7, Leeds United 0. Just have to give credit to Man City where it's due, really. They were fantastic in this game, and Leeds, well, I mean, it just wasn't really their day, of course. But Man City can do this to anyone, and wasn't a great performance. And I'm sure you weren't too happy.
Yeah, I mean, it was one of them where obviously unfortunate not to be able to get to the game, watching it on TV. It was one of them where it was going to go really well for Leeds, or you could just tell it was going to go downhill, especially off the back of such a good performance against Chelsea. And I think a few Leeds fans are using the excuses at the moment. I'm looking through Twitter and stuff of like, we've got our short squad, we've got so many key players injured, and I completely agree with that. I mean, it's literally factual. If we have them players, we compete more. But to go and put a performance like that a few days after putting in one of our performances of the season against Chelsea, and I know you had Haddy recently on here, and he was talking about how Chelsea were lucky to get 3 points because we were that good, and it was with the same group of players. So against two teams that are battling for the title, so there's not much difference. But we just didn't turn up, and you could tell from that first few minutes when Bernardo Silva missed one of the sitters of the season that this could be a long day for Leeds, and 7 goals later it was.
I mean, obviously, we focus on the positives from a Leeds point of view. The travelling supporters, I mean, when most teams lose 7-0, you wouldn't expect the fans to be staying there and obviously cheering the team on, but that's exactly what Leeds fans did. Does that show really how much, these Leeds fans obviously are appreciating being back in the Premier League? And despite the club going through a difficult phase at the moment, maybe in a relegation battle, obviously Leeds supporters are a big part of the club.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, that's one thing that Leeds will always have, no matter what, whether we're at the bottom of the league, whether we're at the top of the league, whether we're in crisis. Our fans will always turn up, will always outsing every other crowd, will always outbring every other crowd. It's the best thing about our club, really. I mean, this is my first year as a fan in the Premier League, and getting to all the games, it's absolutely brilliant. And it's like, you can tell it's a different level to the Championship, even in the fan base. It's maybe not as loud as it was in recent years, especially in Ellen Road, but that's because it's more tense. There's more nerves around it. Like when we're in Ellen Road against teams like Liverpool, you are tense. It's not like you're not playing your Lutons or your Birminghams or whatever. You're against the big boys now, and I think our fans are enjoying it, and there's no chance we'll be wanting to go down this season.
Absolutely. And another game on Tuesday evening, relegation battling Norwich City, beaten 2-0 by Aston Villa. Great start to life at Villa for Steven Gerrard. 4 wins out of 6, I believe that is. Villa doing very well, really. But as for Norwich, it's very difficult to see them staying up at the moment, really. Just not enough goals in the team.
Yeah, I think with Norwich at the moment, under Dean Smith, it started quite well, it started positively compared to Daniel Farke. But they're just not picking up the points in the games they have to be. I mean, without a win in the last 5, and 3 of them, yes, the draws, decent draws, but you look at them, one of them against Newcastle, and Newcastle had 10 men for 80 minutes, and they only just scraped a point out of that as well. So you have to be winning a game like that. A draw against Wolves. I know Wolves are looking really good at the moment, but if you pick out your games, you've got to be picking your wins in them. So I think they're not picking up the points where they should be, really, and it's gonna leave them near the bottom come the end, I think.
Yeah, and as for Aston Villa, obviously, I know there's a bit of a rivalry between Leeds and Aston Villa, of course, but credit where it's due to Steven Gerrard. He's done a very good job since going in. And where do you think the furthest is he can take Villa this season?
Well, I think he's exceeded expectation already, especially in my mind, because obviously I'm a Leeds fan. I'm not the most focused on Aston Villa, but I remember the appointment and so much excitement around it. And I voiced my opinion on it, saying that I don't think this is as good of an appointment as people are making out. I don't think I saw Villa fans saying, get us into Europa League already. This is the appointment. And I want to, sure, but after the start they've made, I think that is the limit they can reach. I mean, they just have to stay consistent with it. I mean, he's got the players working really hard at the moment. There's a clip that went viral of Ollie Watkins like sprinting length at pitch just to track Norwich's fullback defensively. So that's what he's brought into Aston Villa already. The work rate, which maybe they were lacking at the start of the season, that effort. And he's got getting the best out of players like Marvelous Nakamba, who's looked brilliant since Gerrard's come in. And unfortunately, I think he's sustained an injury that might keep him out for the season, which will take a hindrance on the side. Ollie Watkins is back on form. Jacob Ramsey, a youth player coming through, doing really well. So I think that's what he's doing really well at the moment. He's getting some of Villa's own doing well and moving on from Jack Grealish. I think it's what people are saying Dean Smith couldn't do. Move on, have a different way without him. But I think Gerrard's done that really well.
Yep, and another game which did go ahead despite Graham Potter not wanting it to was Brighton and Hove Albion versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. It's got to be said, really, Bruno Lager, the Wolves manager, done quite an underrated job this year, really. Wolves are in a good position, very solid at the back, and a good win for them here. But as for Brighton, it's now 11 without a win. So despite their good start, they've really fallen down the table. What do you make of both of these sides?
Yeah, I think with Brighton, it's what we were saying last season. It's the lack of a clear goal scorer, isn't it? I mean, Neil Maupay, he's a good striker. That's what he is. He's not going to take them to the next level. And from that Brighton Wolves game, Enoch Mwepu, centre mid, missed 2 sitters, and that's the story of Brighton season, really. Just missing such good chances. I mean, I remember when Leeds played them away not so long ago, and Neil Maupay missed an open net, and they battered us completely, and they only left with a 0-0 because they couldn't take the chances. And it's the story of last season for Brighton. This season they're doing a bit better. They're getting more points early on, but yeah, it's the lack of a clear goal scorer. And with Wolves, I think it's weird how it happens because it's a manager who's come in. He's kind of not changed the style so much. Like there's still a 5 at the back. It's still the similar group of players, but it's another one like Gerrard. There's way more intensity. There's more want to get forward. I mean, if you were to watch that Brighton Wolves game, the amount of opportunities where Adama's just blitzing through the midfield, he's creating so many chances. He looks a different player and he just needs to add goals and assists to his game because he's got everything but that. And against Brighton, he absolutely tore them apart. And Wolves missed quite a few chances as well. And it could have been a way different scoreline than 1-0.
Yeah, another game, the draw specialist, really, Crystal Palace, a 2-2 one with Southampton. Obviously, Southampton, probably a better point for them, really, especially with them being the away team. But again, Jordan Ayew scoring his first goal for a very long time as well. Quite an entertaining game, really, at Sellers Park. And you'd say a fair draw. But James Ward-Prowse, again, with another fantastic free kick.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying recently, a play like that will keep you up. And Southampton have been dropping in danger the last few weeks, but I think when you've got a set piece specialist like that, it will keep you up. I think when you're near the bottom, corners, free kicks, it's them you've got to focus on, and you've got to make sure you're winning them, getting goals from it, and that will keep you up. And Southampton, to have James Ward-Prowse who's pulling that out of the bag, he'll whip in good corners, and they've got big lads at the back of Southampton, and it will win you points. So it's why I think Southampton are more on the okay side of relegation. I don't think they'll go down because they've got that. But yeah, it was a really good game. I mean, Armando Broja with another goal. He's looking a really good sign at the moment. And when you look at them two teams, you kind of think about both the Chelsea loanees on each side, the star men of the teams, Conor Gallagher and Broja. And I think they're both doing really well at the moment. And he's got a really good goal to top off a 2-2 draw for them.
Yep, and Arsenal versus West Ham United. Arsenal move into the top 4 for the first time in a while. Obviously, they have played a couple of games more, though, now than Tottenham Hotspur and, of course, Manchester United. So not sure whether it is the correct position, but a good win for Arsenal. But West Ham starting to fade off a little bit under David Moyes, starting to struggle a little bit in front of goal as well. No goals now in their last 3 games. Yeah,
I think with West Ham, it could be so many different things. People could say, is it down to Europa League? And they're still in the EFL Cup as well. So they're still in all competitions at the moment. We're about to play them in the FA Cup. So I think with the lack of goals, it is down to not a backup striker. I mean, Mikel Antonio's playing all these games and he's started to fade off a bit. But there's also a bit of confusion. I remember I was watching the Arsenal West Ham game, and a lot of the game, Antonio was just basically playing on the wing. I'm not sure if this is like, I remember watching them earlier on in the season and he wasn't doing that. So maybe this is changing tactics. David Moyes thinks he'll get the better out of Mikel Antonio's power and strength, like bullying the fullbacks because they're not as big as the centre backs, obviously. But I thought Arsenal coached really well with him. And Jared Bowen, who's on great form, didn't really have a sniff. And I thought that's more of a credit to Arsenal than West Ham were poor on the day. I thought Martinelli was on fire that game, and he was my man at match, definitely. I know a lot of the plaudits, you're an Arsenal fan yourself, aren't you? A lot of the plaudits go to Emile Smith-Rowe, Bukayo Saka, but I always think there just needs that extra one of Martinelli. He's clearly been deserving of his chance recently, and for whatever reason, Arteta's stuck loyal to whether that's Nicolas Pepe, Aubameyang, who's been out of form for a long time now, and now looking like he won't be getting a chance again. But I think now he's Martinelli's time and he's taking it really well. I mean, his goal against Newcastle recently was really well taken. It was like a striker's finish and he's playing on the wing. And a really good goal against West Ham as well, and it was a deserved one.
Yeah, I mean, as for obviously Arsenal, Leeds face Arsenal this weekend. Obviously, with Leeds' recent result against Man City, you imagine the confidence won't be great going into the game. With it being at Ellen Road, though, fans behind them as well. What sort of game are you expecting there?
I think it'll be a fiery one, definitely. I think you can tell from Bielsa's press conference, he was getting a bit tetchy with the questions. You can tell he's up for it now because it's the heaviest defeat we'll ever experience under Bielsa, and you could tell he wasn't happy with it for obvious reasons, but even he's himself, like he'll be fuming with himself. So it'll be a really good game. I think it'll be end to end. I think it'll be the best atmosphere we've had at Ellen Road all season, because we know as fans that this is such an important time. We have to get behind the players. We've just got a heavy loss, and all we can do is be as loud as possible. And I think that will play a factor. I think of particular games where I think fans really pushed us to win in the Championship when we bet West Brom 4-0. It's one of the best atmospheres I've ever had in Ellen Road, and we absolutely battered them because of it. And there wasn't much difference between the sides either, but I think we pushed the players to just go out and absolutely batter them. So hopefully that happens against Arsenal, but I'm not so confident that'll be the outcome of the result.
Yep, and moving on to Thursday's games now, starting with Chelsea versus Everton. And with the team Everton had out, it's got to be said, this is a massive, a famous result for Everton, really, of course, and Branthwaite, of course, getting in a goal as well. But as for Chelsea, though, this is really 2 points dropped, and they've got to be careful, Chelsea, that they don't lose touch, really, with Man City and Liverpool at the top. But 1-1 draw at Stamford Bridge, and a very disappointing result for Chelsea, but a really good one for Everton.
Yeah, I think that result was kind of a long time coming for Chelsea. I mean, they've scraped 3 points quite a bit recently. Watford, undeserving of 3 points, just got away with it. Leeds, undeserving of 3 points, just got away with it. And I think, and when you look at the three, this is the one really they should be winning. I mean, Ellis Sims up front had a decent loan spell at Blackpool, but nothing groundbreaking, and he's making his first Premier League start at Stamford Bridge. Same with Jared Branthwaite, young centre-back. Didn't have a great loan spell at Blackburn, and he's gone and scored an equaliser, which could be one of the biggest points for Everton come end of season. And it takes me back to my point of the Southampton game, where set pieces are so important for the sides near the bottom. And it's weird to say that Everton are near the bottom, but they just are, aren't they? Like, that is what they're going to be this season, unless Calvert-Lewin can come back and get firing again, who they missed. But set pieces will really play a factor, and Branthwaite getting on the end of that free kick, it's a huge point for him.
Yeah, Everton certainly got their injury issues as well. And now we're going to move on to the final game of midweek. Liverpool 3, Newcastle United 1. Started well for Newcastle, John Joe Shelby scoring a very good goal. But Liverpool, though, come back into it. And what a goal to end it for Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, it was a really good strike. I mean, you compare the two with his goal and De Bruyne's goal, you don't know which one's better, do you? I'm going to say Trent's, because obviously one against Leeds. But yeah, it was, if you were to look at one fixture of the game week, you'd think that's the one where there's going to be an easy 3 points and it's going to be for Liverpool. But when you see that John Joe Shelby's put on 1-0 up with a really good strike, you don't know whether this is going to be the upset of the season, because it's saying Newcastle were to go on to get 3 points. It would have been the upset of the season, 100%, no doubt about it. But yeah, I mean, Liverpool got the job done. They turned it on as soon as they went 1-0 down. And I mean, Jota, Salah, Alexander-Arnold, they're the three reliables this season, aren't they? So yeah, they did really well.
Yeah, and obviously, for the title race, Liverpool, Chelsea, and City all playing in the week. Chelsea dropping points, but Liverpool and City both winning. Where do you stand on the title race right now, Keiran? Which team do you think at this moment in time are looking the strongest?
I think, I know it's only Christmas and it's difficult to rule out teams, but I think Chelsea are slowly fading out of it. They're not out of it yet, but they've got to start winning. And to stay in the title race, in my opinion, they've got to start winning consecutively as well. They can't be dropping points at all for the next couple of months, you could say, because Man City and Liverpool look that good. I think for me, Man City are just looking a bit better than everyone else. I've not seen a team play like that against Leeds ever, where it's just relentless, non-stop attack. And we didn't look like leaving our half if we played for another 90 minutes. And that's not normal in football. And the squad depth to push them through, because Pep Guardiola is going to want a Champions League as well. He's going to really want that Champions League. So to balance it both, they've got the squad for it more than I think Liverpool. And that's no disrespect to Liverpool. I think on starting 11s, they could go toe to toe, but I think Man City will edge it because of the squad.
Yep, and relegation battle as well. Obviously, right now you've got Burnley down there. Obviously, Burnley have played a couple of games less than the others, though. Newcastle, Norwich, Watford, yourselves and Southampton. Which teams would you say right now are the three you are likely to go down?
I think for two of them, you've got to go Norwich and Newcastle at the moment. You just struggle to see where they're going to pick up points. They don't look like picking up points. And then the third one, it's difficult. And I know a lot of people would say Leeds, a lot of people would say Burnley. I think I'll go Burnley at the moment, but we definitely needed some of our players back, especially with some difficult fixtures coming out.
Yeah, now I'm going to ask from the midweek games for your player and team of the week, please.
Player, I think it's between two for me. After watching the games, it's between De Bruyne and Martinelli, but I think for the goal, for the performance as well, it's got to be De Bruyne, and then team, it's got to be Man City, unfortunately.
Yeah, fair enough. I admire your honesty there, Keiran. I was wondering if you're going to say Man City, actually.
Yeah, it's got to be, hasn't it?
Yeah, Man City, of course, very good performance. And just before you go, Keiran, as well, I want to ask for your score prediction for Leeds Arsenal on Saturday.
Oh, see, my heart says a scrappy 1-0 win, but my head's saying a 2-1 Arsenal. So one of the two.
Fair enough. Well, that's all we've got time for anyway today on the Premier League weekend review. But thank you very much for joining me, Keiran. I hope everyone enjoyed the show, and I'll see you all soon.